Hey everybody, Corey here from Par to Pro. We're here with our favorite tester, Al. We've got the new TGC 2019. We're going to use it with our SkyTrack system here just to show you how to get it connected. We've already connected the SkyTrack unit and done all of our downloads, our license entry, and all the rest of that stuff. Yeah, a bit of a process, but once it's up and running, it works great. We're connected just via USB here just to make things a little bit easier, but box is connected. Al, take it away. Let's click on Play Game. You can't do that before that box is connected. On the setup here, one of the things we noticed in the default settings, it didn't come up with the same resolution as our projector and as our computer are set to. So we ended up having to change that from within the software. And we're going to take you through all of the settings in this new TGC 2019. And if you see these coming up, you can just keep left clicking on it to get through it so it doesn't keep sitting up here. So here's that brand new thing, and it says enter to continue, so we'll hit enter. It goes out. It does need an internet connection for all the online features and such. There is an offline mode. So this takes you right to the home screen. You can play a local match. Great news for the 2019 is that you can have up to 4 players, which is great on a local match. And we're going to show you that in a separate video, a whole separate thing just for the local match. One of the things you'll notice is there's an avatar now, so you can actually click in on Edit Golfer. So go ahead, Al. You can really get into a lot of stuff here. One of the things that we noticed, the first thing is up at the top, there's a bit of a bug with the naming. If you enter the name, we've entered Al there. If you don't hit enter, then it actually won't stay. So it just keeps coming up as the last name that was entered. You can pick your nationality, it goes through flags, your handedness, left or right, gender. And if you click on appearance there, Al, this is where you can get into all sorts of different things, and you can do preset guides, you can do facial features, hair, eye color, skin, body. Spent a lot of time with that. Obviously more of the gaming idea, so we'll just get out of that. We don't want to get into too much of that. Clothing, you can even change all your clothes. You can pick your golf bag. It's not going to change anything in terms of the use with the SkyTrack. It doesn't matter which club you select or which club you have in your bag. So this is just more of a feature more for the video game side of things. You can change your handicap index on that. We haven't tested it to see if that affects the gameplay at all, but there are handicap rated courses. So when a course gets played a certain amount of time, it becomes handicap rated, which is great. So we'll get out of here. This is the main golfer. Unfortunately, with TGC 2019, there's actually only one golfer that you can do. And again, you'll see that in our local match video. So right now, we're just going to go into the main settings. And in the settings, click on audio there. You can adjust the volumes of each thing. So music, gameplay, commentary, ambience, crowd volume, the user interface effects. All of that, change those things. So if you don't like the guy giving you a hard time from the commentary, he's lower that right to 0 if you want. I'm not a big fan of the music myself, so I would turn that volume right down. And we'll get out of here, Al, and we'll check the next place. So the gameplay options, we've got green grid, live grid. The one thing about the live grid, we actually haven't seen that, probably because of our video position. Because we chose to have the ball not on screen, and we'll look at that in a second here. So the measurement mode is precise, and apparently you can set it so that the distance away is a rough distance if you set it to range in this mode. So I guess more like if you're on the course without a GPS or rangefinder. Then the shot suggestion, it's suggesting a club shot tight before each stroke. We don't really even need to have this on since it's not important in terms of the accuracy of it, but it is kind of nice if you're maybe a beginner. Al teaches a lot of beginners, so you think that might be something helpful?
Yeah, that could be helpful just to know what club you might use in that situation, so it's giving you some info and a recommendation of what club would be used.
Great. And then next thing down below that is showing the wind speed. So during gameplay, it sets the wind meter, and a lot of times we'll just play without the wind. The putting marker, it sets the style of the marker when aiming your putt. The gimme rules are actually kind of nice. I like the main gimme is that it's basically within 2 yards. It'll give you a gimme, or you can actually change the distance rules, which then you can do a gimme 1+ or 2+. So that's kind of a nice thing if you just want a faster game. You know, set your distance within, let's say, the 2 yards for a +1 and maybe 4 yards for a +2 or something like that.
Yeah, it would eliminate some putting if you wanted to get, just get to actual full shots during your game.
Exactly. So scroll down there, Al, and then you to scroll down on our remote, you have to left click on the scroll bar on the right side. So not necessarily the easiest thing, and that's it. I mean, we could go, you can reset everything to default. So we're going to escape out of here, go into the camera modes, into the camera settings. There's a scout camera, approach putting cameras, flyover cameras, and the follow camera. So following the camera is after you hit the shot, it follows the ball. The address camera, both at the tee, general, and on green. You can set that to just being a different angle. So this is a wide angle view that we prefer anyway to see everything. And the scout camera preset, automatic, so it sets the default target when switching to the scout camera. The ball out of view, this is what we have set on. It's not the default in the software, but since we have used this as a simulator, we've already got the ball in front of us. We don't need to see the ball on screen as well. And then scrolling down, we've got the horizontal camera offset. So this is good if you've got a tee position that's not centered to the screen. The drawback that we found is that, and we're really hoping that on the new software, they would have had a offset for left and an offset for right-handed users, so that you can use it in a smaller room for both left and right-handed users, and that way you have 2 tee positions. But let's say that you have a small room, it's only 10 feet wide. You can move that horizontal camera offset, and basically that changes the target line in line with where your tee position is, and just makes it a lot easier to aim when you've got that in line, right? So there's a follow the camera delay. Now, Al, you kind of mentioned something that, why would they have this, right?
Yeah, what would be the feature to make that follow cam come on? But after trying it, it makes sense that what it's allowing you to do is hit your shot, and while the ball is in the air, maybe you're seeing the flight of it as it goes, and then after 2-3 seconds, flip the other side so you can see the ball coming in and land. So how long do you want to watch your ball flight in the air while you're standing behind it? So it's a very good feature to have.
Yeah, I like it. I always find it, if you're jumping right away, then it does kind of make a little bit of difference. And so in there's a couple other videos coming up where we take shots, you'll be able to see that as well. So that's the end of the camera settings. And thanks for hanging in there. If you're at this far along here, this is quite a long video, but let's go through this maybe a little bit quicker. The display in HUD, or the heads-up display, hold info. So what we've done is we've taken a lot of these defaults and changed them to fade. One of my favorite features, because I like a simulator to be more simulation and show me more of the course and less data when it's up there. So the hole info will fade. The mini scorecard will fade. The wind meter will fade. The line club info will fade. Button help, we've got that set to just off. Ball labels, same thing. We've got it to fade. The aiming reticule is a little circle. It's the circle that's in the middle of the image, and it shows you where you're actually aiming at, which is kind of nice if you're not sure where you're aiming at. We've had some shots that come up where the pin is off center to where you're actually aiming, or where the default aim is. So I can see that being useful, but again, we just wanted to have it something more simulation than anything else. So
it gives it a cleaner look when you get to see the screen after a few seconds just look like a course, which makes it look much more like it's outside.
Yeah, definitely. High contrast HUD, the one above that, that's just basically if you want to see the numbers a little bit better. I know that I'm not getting any younger, so that might be a little bit helpful for me, but we've just turned that off to leave the default. And showing the flag marker, we actually had this off at one point, and then we were finding that it was really hard to see the distances and where the pin is, because it would fade. And so the fade that they have on there is a set time. And I wish maybe in the next update that they would actually change it so we can pick the fade amount. Because if we could pick it for like, what, Al, 20 seconds?
Yeah, maybe 10, 20 seconds. So that information staying up, you look at it, and then as you're getting ready to hit that, then it goes away rather than, I think it's about 2 seconds right now. So it's up. You have to really pay attention to what your distance is and those kind of things, the whole information, and then it fades out. And so if you miss that, you have to go back and click the keyboard to be able to pull the information back up again. So.
Excellent. Let's just scroll down there off of past the show flag marker. Okay, so we've kind of jumped up a little bit. So the display units are Imperial. That's pretty obvious. The heads-up display offset, it can move it off the center or closer to the center of the screen. Show ball trail, that's kind of a normal. I actually like to see that, it makes it a little bit easier. We've turned off the in-game help. But this is kind of a really neat thing that they've done here. So could be used for maybe commercial use, as Al was saying, that for somebody who's never used the software before, you can turn this on, and if in a commercial center they want to use this, you can reset that. And basically why you'd want to reset it is that in-game help only comes up for the first time something new happens within the software. So pretty cool. And then we'll just go down, so the shot analysis screen, we've actually switched over to manual. The standard is 5 seconds, and we just turned that off so that it'd be a little bit more easier for gameplay. But if you're on the range, you'd probably want to change that to no timer so that the stats are up there, or maybe even 5 or 10 seconds, just so that you can see your shot analysis after. Then the scorecard screen, that's pretty obvious, 5 seconds. There's a whole mini map. Again, we've got that set to fade, and that's all the display in HUD. So we'll keep going here, and we're going to try to still get you through. So again, thanks for hanging in there to watch all the details. We've changed the default quality level was at high resolution. We've changed that to ultra. The VSync is based on your graphics card. The depth of field, we played around with that a little bit. Al, did you see anything?
Didn't seem huge. There's a little bit of there's supposed to be some blur in the background, so it looks like things that are further away are a little hazier or blurrier. So, I mean, we didn't see a ton of difference in it, but it's kind of a graphical feature more than anything else.
Yeah, it was. I didn't see anything, but then again, it could just be me. On the bloom, there's bloom and SSAO. So, Al, if you put your cursor over top of the bloom there, that is basically the bloom lighting. So we're looking at like sundogs and that kind of stuff,
yeah.
Right? And then the SSAO is a screen space ambient occlusion, which I have to just say question mark. What do you think, Al?
I'm gonna guess it has to do with how the brightness of the screen for your space, maybe. So how maybe a brightness setting for you could kind of set it so if you need maybe contrast.
But it's just an on-off setting, so yeah. I'm not quite sure I get that.
It's an odd one.
Something we'd probably have to look into a little more. We played with it, didn't really do much. Anti-aliasing, then that's just how the pixelation just blends. So we've set it to just the default here. Leave it on full screen. We don't want to see any bars. The resolution, we actually had to change. The default came in at 1024 by 768, even though our computer and our projector is 1920 by 1080. So a little bit strange. And then if you click on advanced graphics, in there you've got the rendering scale, object detail, which, we've got an ultra, so we kind of thought maybe the object detail might go to full. But everything else is pretty much at full except for the fog quality, and the rendering scale itself is where everything starts becoming more detailed in graphics as opposed to a blurred background. So that's just the scale of how much depth there is. And going down here, and that's it. I mean, that's the bottom. Just reset to defaults. We're going to go through on the controls. Now, on the controls side of things, this has nothing to do with simulation as far as we can tell. So this is kind of one of those things where it comes in from the video game world, and we kind of wish that this wouldn't even be here. So let's get out of here and go into Course Designer. These are, again, just the settings for the Course Designer. You can set it up with your default hole count and your controller, your mouse zoom, mouse rotation, camera inversion, and again, that's just how you set it up. And on the social settings, you can show nationality flags, show the ghost scores, automatically add friends, turn on order animation, in-game notification, and those are the social settings. So we'll hit escape out of there. So just so that you can see on the top, we're just going to click on golfer, and that just takes us back here, or maybe you hit escape there, Al.
Yeah, sorry.
So let's go back to settings. So in settings, you can click over on golfer. That'll take you through the edit golfer and equipment, stats and records, handicap records, replays. You can save your replays, course design stats. Click on the notifications there, and should be no new messages, but this is where it stores your messages. If you click on group, this is where you can create an in-game party to stick with friends while you play online. So send your invites here and all the rest of that stuff. It can show you a list of all your online friends. And if you're in a match, it'll show you these are the golfers in your active game. The settings we've already gone through, and then there's a button for help glossary, which that just kind of gives you some help for all the different things that are in here, which is great to have. It's nice to see some help for those of us just new to the software. If you hit escape there, Al, the other buttons up top there from home, there's societies. And this is all the online society stuff, and a solo society. You can actually play custom seasons against the computer itself, which is kind of neat. On the training button, that takes you through there's a driving range, chipping practice, and putting practice. All new for TGC 2019. We're super excited about that. We're going to do a whole separate video just for that. And that's okay, Al. I don't think you can escape out of that one. He's kind of taking us through there. This is a nice post here about the handicap rated courses. And now we're just back on the practice facility. But again, we'll do a separate one while we're there. And